guys, this is V and welcome back to ThinkView. Before we start, I have an announcement to make. I've traded my M1 MacBook Pro to the M3 MacBook Air. For 2 years, my 14-inch M1 Pro was my absolute anchor. It was my trusty daily driver for the solid aluminum brick sitting in my tote bag every single day. But recently, I've made a switch that raised a few eyebrows in my circle. I traded my M1 Pro for the new M3 MacBook Air. On paper, swapping a Pro chip for an Air sounds like taking a step backward, but in reality, it was the best tech decisions I've made so far this year. This is the story of why I gave up the Bro badge, how my daily workflow completely evolved, and why the sleek little machine turned out to be everything I actually need. To understand why I made the switch, you have to look at where my career was 2 years ago versus where it is now. Back then, I was working as a solo freelancer. I was doing everything by myself, shooting raw footage, editing heavy video timelines, design graphics, managing clients, and handling full post-production. My M1 MacBook Pro was an absolute lifesaver during that chapter. I constantly need that built-in SD card slot to pull media off my cameras on the fly. I needed the HDMI port to plug directly into external monitors on my desk without fussing with adapters. I needed that raw performance just to render timelines without my laptop choking. Fast forward today, my daily routine has shifted completely different. I transitioned into a new role where I now focus on content strategy, creative direction, and campaign management. The biggest change? I finally have an amazing team to help me with those heavy technical tasks. They handle the raw camera ingest, the complex edits, and the long video renders. My role now revolves around content creation, brainstorming ideas, writing scripts, reviewing drafts, and constantly staying mobile. Suddenly, I found myself carrying around a thick, heavy workstation every single day just to write documents, review team cuts, send emails, and hop between strategy meetings. And that built-in SD card slot, I hadn't touched it in months. What about the extra HDMI port? Barely used. That extra hardware bug was just sitting in my back, dragging my shoulder down for no real reason. That brings me to the biggest selling point of this whole transition: design and true mobility. Let's be honest about the MacBook Pro. It was a blocky machine. It had that classic, boxy, industrial aesthetic that felt sturdy, but it definitely heavy and rigid. Swapping from that blocky frame to the M3 MacBook Air felt like an absolute breath of fresh air. This M3 MacBook Air is ridiculously lightweight, sleek, and elegant. For a girl like me who's constantly on the move, running from cafe meetings to team brainstorms and on-site shoots, the difference in form factor is astronomical. I can easily slip it into my bag without having to reorganize my whole life around it. I can literally pick it up and carry it with just one hand like a thin notebook. Because it takes up so much less space and weight, my bags feel lighter, and I actually have room to pack my everyday essentials, my planner, my touch-up kit, my text pouch without feeling like I'm lugging around heavy luggage. Some of my friends ask me that am I going to miss the extra ports? But the reality of the current tech is that the USB-C has basically conquered the world. A few years ago, having a dedicated HDMI port was essential because every conference room demanded. Today, almost every modern workplace setup, display, and cafe hub connects effortlessly through a single Type-C cable that charges your laptop and push display output at the same time. Or you can just simply stream whatever on your display to a TV through AirPlay. I don't need a heavy HDMI cable or a mess of extra dongles floating at the bottom of my bag anymore. Now, let's just address the elephant in the room: the performance. Moving from an M1 Pro chip to a standard M3 chip sounds like a downgrade, but the real-world story is much more nuanced. The M3 chip brings a significant architectural improvements. When it comes to single-core performance and overall CPU speed, the M3 actually outperforms the older M1 Pro. In daily use, that means opening applications, switching between heavy browser windows, working across Notion and Lark, and live photo editing feels noticeably faster and snappier than it did on my old M1 Pro. Now, to be completely transparent, the GPU in the M1 Pro technically has more raw graphics power than the base M3. But here's the thing, the M3's GPU is still remarkably capable. Whenever I do need to jump in and edit a video myself, whether it's cutting together a quick social reel or reviewing project footage, the M3 handles it smoothly without missing a beat. It is more than enough for my creative workflow today. There's another massive performance win that rarely people talk about: thermals and acoustic. The M1 Pro was powerful, but extra powers comes with extra heat. Whenever I pushed my M1 Pro, that chaser would get noticeably warm, and those internal fans would kick in to cool it down. The M1 III, on the other hand, is insanely energy efficient, especially inside the MacBook Air body. It operates completely fanless. No matter how many apps I'm running, this machine is completely silent. Zero fan noise means zero distractions. My work today thrives on creative mobility. Inspiration doesn't happen when you're chained to a complex setup all day. I need to travel around, move between spaces, capturing content on the fly, and brainstorm on the go. The MacBook Air fits this lifestyle effortlessly. It powers on instantly, the battery lasts all day long, and it feels less like a piece of equipment and more like a seamless extension of my creative process. Now, every good thing's had one or two drawbacks to it, and the M3 MacBook Air isn't much different. There are a few trade-offs you have to accept when you step away from the Pro lineup. First thing first is the screen brightness. The Liquid Retina display on the Pro line is top tier, especially for high brightness HDR content. The screen on the Air is still beautiful, sharp, and vibrant. But if you frequently work outdoors directly under bright sunlight, you will notice that it doesn't get quite as blindingly bright as the Pro display. Second thing is the refresh rate. The M1 Pro's features Apple promotion 120Hz display, while the Air display remained at the standard 60Hz. To be completely fair though, the difference between 60Hz and 120 on a laptop screen isn't as nearly as dramatic as it is on a phone or tablet. Unless you're playing fast-paced game, and let's be honest, I'm not using my Mac for the heavy gaming anyway. You will completely stop noticing the 60Hz screen after a few minutes of typing or browsing, so honestly, who cares? Third one is the audio experience. This is one area where I do feel the difference. The 14-inch MacBook Air comes equipped with a 4-speaker sound system, whereas the MacBook Pro boasts a stellar 6-speaker setup with a deep bass and rich spatial audio. To be completely honest, I do miss the speaker setup on my MacBook Pro. The Air speakers are clear and totally fine for calls or casual YouTube videos, but they just don't have that deep, room-filling sound that make the Pro sound like a mini studio. Finally, my one small pet peeve with the design. I really wish Apple would place a USB-C port on the right side of the MacBook Air. Having both Type-C ports crammed right next to each other on the left side means that if your power outlet or external drive is sitting on your right, you have to drape cables awkwardly around the back of the laptop. Having one port on each side would make cable management so much cleaner. At the end of the day, technology shouldn't be about chasing maximum specs on paper. It should be choose what fits your lifestyle right now. 2 years ago, my workflow demanded a heavy-duty workstation. Today, my career and lifestyle demand mobility, speed, elegance, and freedom. Trading my old M1 MacBook Pro to a M3 MacBook Air wasn't a compromise. It was an upgrade in every single way that actually matters to my daily life. It lightened my back, streamlined my everyday workflow, and gave me the flexibility to work from anywhere. If your daily routine has shifted toward content creation, strategy, and staying on the move, don't let the Air name fool you. It might be the best decision that you ever made. What do you think about this decision? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to ThinkView, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!